It was the coldest night of the year. The kind of cold that seeps through your clothes and makes your teeth chatter no matter how many layers you wear. I was driving home from my friend's cabin, alone, with the snowstorm making the road barely visible. The headlights cut through the white haze, but everything else was swallowed by darkness and snow. At first, it was just quiet. Too quiet. No other cars, no wind sounds, just the crunch of my tires on the frozen road. My phone had no signal, so I couldn't call anyone. A small part of me started to feel nervous, but I shook it off. I had driven this road before. Nothing bad ever happened. Then I saw it. Far ahead, on the side of the road, a figure was standing. Tall, shrouded in something white that blended almost perfectly with the snow. At first, I thought it was someone stranded or maybe a lost hiker, but the closer I got, the more unnatural it looked. It didn't move. Not even when I slowed down. Not even when my headlights passed over it. I could see its head now, tilted slightly, like it was listening to something I couldn't hear. My stomach dropped. I wanted to drive past, but the icy road made me slow and careful, and I couldn't shake the feeling that it was watching me. Then it moved. Not like a human walking, more like a shadow gliding just above the snow. My heart slammed in my chest. I pressed the accelerator, trying to get away, but every time I looked in the rearview mirror, the figure was closer. It wasn't running. It didn't need to. It just floated, slowly, steadily, toward my car. I told myself it was my imagination, but then I heard it. A whisper carried by the wind. "Why are you running?" I froze. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly it hurt. The voice was low, raspy, broken, but unmistakably real. I slammed my foot on the gas, trying to put as much distance between us as possible, but the snowstorm was thick and the road was slippery. Every turn felt like it could throw me off, but I didn't care. I just wanted to get away. Then I noticed something in the rearview mirror that made my blood run cold. There wasn't just one figure. There were more. Shadows gliding just above the snow, following me, keeping pace, circling like predators. My headlights barely caught them, but I could see them in the reflections on the icy patches of road. Long, pale shapes, moving without sound, with eyes that seemed to glow in the faint light. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. My car skidded on the ice, spinning slightly before I regained control. The whispers came again, this time multiple voices overlapping. "Come stay, don't leave." My chest tightened. I realized I had nowhere to go. The storm was everywhere. The figures were everywhere. And I was trapped. I could see a dim light ahead. Maybe another cabin. Maybe a house. I pushed the car toward it, desperate, but the shadows seemed to anticipate every move. They moved faster now, gliding over the snow as if it wasn't even there. My heart was beating so loud I thought it would burst. My fingers were numb, my vision blurry from fear and cold. The wind howled around me, carrying their whispers closer and closer. And then, one of the shadows leaned toward the car window. Too close. I could see the pale, distorted face under the hood. The eyes were empty, black holes that stared straight at me. And it smiled. I slammed the brakes and skidded to a stop. The car fishtailed, spinning slightly before I could control it. The shadow stopped too, just for a second. But that second was enough for me to realize something terrifying. They weren't going to let me go. The car sat trembling beneath me, the engine humming like a frightened animal. Outside, the shadows froze in place. Their pale faces turned toward me as if waiting for me to breathe wrong. The snowstorm thickened around them, almost wrapping them in a white curtain, but not enough to hide their shapes. I swallowed hard. My breath fogged up the windshield, but even through the blur, I could see them. I could feel them. One of the figures tilted its head slowly, like it was studying me. Another glided forward an inch, silent, smooth, unnatural. The snow didn't move under their feet. They didn't leave footprints. I tried to put the car in reverse, but when I looked in the rearview mirror, something made my entire body lock. There was one behind the car, closer than all the others, standing directly at my back bumper. Its face was right in the mirror, pale and stretched, as if someone had pulled its skin too tight. The eyes were thin slits of darkness, and its mouth, God, its mouth, was slightly open, showing teeth that didn't look human. My hand started shaking so violently I almost dropped the gear shift. Then came the whisper, not from outside, not from the wind, but from inside the car. "We've been waiting for you." My breath caught. I whipped my head around, expecting something in the back seat. Nothing was there, nothing I could see, but the cold was suddenly unbearable, crawling up my spine like icy fingers. I didn't think. I hit the accelerator hard. The car lurched forward, wheels spinning on ice before catching traction. I shot toward the dim light in the distance. The house, the cabin, whatever it was, just anything that wasn't the dark, snowy road behind me. The figures moved. Not running, not walking, just appearing closer every second, gliding over the snow like they owned the ground. My headlights shook violently as I drove, and for a moment, one of the shadows drifted right next to my window. Its face pressed against the glass, sliding along with the car. Its voice scratched the inside of my mind. "Don't go," I screamed and swerved, the car fishtailing on the icy road. Snow exploded around me as I just barely regained control. The cabin was closer now. Warm yellow light glowing faintly through frosted windows. Safety, maybe. I aimed straight for it, heart pounding so loudly it drowned out everything else. But as I got closer, the shadowy figures slowed. All of them. Every single one. They stopped at the edge of the clearing where the cabin stood, like an invisible barrier held them back. And then, without warning, every light in the cabin went out. Darkness swallowed the entire building. My car headlights kept illuminating it, but the windows were pitch black, like something inside had turned everything off at once. My stomach twisted. Something wasn't right. Slowly, too slowly, the cabin door began to open. A long creak echoed through the frozen air. And in the doorway, a hand appeared. Pale, long, just like the figures behind me. I hit the brakes, my car sliding to a stop. My whole body went cold, because the hand was not reaching out. It was waving me forward, as if inviting me in. It was the coldest night of the year. I was driving alone through a snowstorm when I saw a pale figure standing on the side of the road. At first, I thought it was a stranded traveler, but then it moved, gliding toward my car, smooth and silent. Behind me, more shadows appeared, floating over the snow, whispering, "Come stay with us." I slammed the accelerator, heart pounding, tires sliding on ice. One of the figures pressed its pale face against my window, its hollow eyes staring straight at me. The lights of a cabin ahead promised safety, but when I got closer, the door creaked open and a long, thin hand beckoned me inside. I spun the car around and raced through the storm, the whispers chasing me until I finally reached town. When I stepped out, I saw footprints in the snow, long, thin, and not human. I've never driven that road at night again.